Okay, welcome everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday. We are coming to you live from Northern Virginia, and we've got George from Philly. We will be giving George a proper introduction in just moments. But anyway, we're going to be talking to George about some challenges he's having scaling his real estate investing business. So stick around. You're going to learn some awesome tips on how to scale your real estate investing business. Guys, this is a hot seat that we do live right here every Tuesday, where we literally ask people their obstacles and we crush each and every one of them. And why do I do these? Besides helping folks like George scale their business or others to actually start a real estate investment business from scratch, I do these to show ordinary people that if you're in a bad situation, you can change your life and your situation through real estate investing. You don't have to have tons of cash. If we haven't met before, I'm Brad Chandler. And what I do is I teach people how to find freedom through real estate investing using a tactic called wholesaling. And wholesaling does not require much money and no credit. So it's quite an awesome tactic. We'll get into that more in detail in a bit. In 2003, I started with a negative $80,000 net worth. I was one of those 78% of Americans, unfortunately, living paycheck to paycheck. And since then, I've parlayed that 15 years later into a business that's going to do 250 deals across the country. And we make over $500,000 in wholesale fees a month. So you can do the same. I promise you can get freedom through real estate investing through this tactic I called wholesaling. So just watch this, learn a bunch, and then I'm going to give you guys a free gift at the end where I teach you step by step on how we actually made $33,750 on a house that we never bought or renovated. So stay tuned. Anyway, if you can share this video with the folks that you think might help, and please in the comment section right now, tell me where you're from and any questions that you have. This isn't just about helping George. This is about helping all you guys out there too. So any questions you have for me or George, type them whether you're watching live or rebroadcast, because I will come back and answer those. So anytime you like something I say or something George says, click that heart button. Click that a couple times now. Just send us some love. All right, guys, let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to the Real Estate Investing Hot Seat live stream podcast. I want to welcome George from Philly. George, welcome, man. How are you today?
Thank you, Brad. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So tell us how you got here, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. So let's start on how you got to where you are.
So 6 years ago, I was waking up in a holding cell wondering why I couldn't stop doing heroin. And now I'm in real estate is the short version of the story, right? So I used to sell windows and siding and was pretty good at selling windows and siding, go to people's houses, give them the pitch and everything like that. I actually met a guy at a diner with friends and was just like, hey, man, what do you do for a living? He told me that he wholesaled real estate. And I said, oh, what's that? And, he told me what it was, as I'm sure you tell people what it is all the time. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'd be pretty good at that. And I made $60,000 with him doing, wholesaling deals in 3 months. And I quit my job, and it's been full steam ahead ever since then. And that was October 23rd of 2014. I ran my first wholesaling.
You'd say that again, that last part?
October 23rd of 2014, I ran my first wholesale lead, went into my first seller house, basically.
Beautiful. So tell us, how did you go from a holding cell to how many deals are you going to do this year?
This year we'll do well over 100, probably 120 or 30.
Okay. So, and how many, you were 6 years ago. So how did you make that transition?
Well, the transition wasn't so much like mechanics as holy hell, how am I going to make something of myself? Let me take every good opportunity that I ever get put in front of me and make sure that I don't screw it up by just working harder than everybody else, man. I barely graduated from high school. I dropped out of college. So coming out of rehab 6 or 7 years ago with a criminal record, no experience, no degree, it was well, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it? And I sold TVs at a store for a little while. All of a sudden I was the top salesman in the store. And I said to myself, you know what, if I can sell my way, because selling's a meritocracy, man. What I love about the sales game and what I love about business is nobody cares where you are. Nobody cares where you've been. The market will tell you what you're worth, right? So when I was sitting there selling Samsung 7000 series or whatever they were, I was making $40,000, $50,000 a year at the time. And man, that was all the money in the world to me. I bought my first car, I was all legit. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't drinking. I was totally straight. And that was like the best feeling in the world. But, 40, 50 grand, just like, as you said, you do 10 times that a month in revenue. Right. So, I started realizing like, hey, I can't have the things that I want in this lifetime making 40, 50 grand. So I started looking around at other career paths I could take, with no degree, with no experience in sales. And I found a window and siding company that would give me a shot. And, I was the top guy in my training class out of 8 or 9. And I made President's Club my first year there. Making 100 grand a year selling windows, no degree, 22 years old, ex-drug addict, was like a pretty big deal. But after a couple years, man, like, you got to grow, you got to want more, you got to keep swinging that sword, and you got to keep going. Right. So, I was looking for other things I could do, still with no degree, still with, not access to the types of things that some of the people that I grew up with had, or some other successful business people had. Literally met a guy at a diner, and just like, really the question that got me going was like, how the hell do you get somebody to sell you their house for 20 or 30% of what it's worth fixed up? Like, how do you do that? Right. And he told me, it's like, you build rapport, you subtly devalue, the property, you bring him down to earth that, hey, this house needs $60,000 of work and I expect to make a profit. Kind of just like took me through a couple of the basics of getting someone to say yes. And I said to myself, like, that's exactly what I'm doing to sell windows. I'm selling windows for $1,000 a pop. I'm selling, $1,000 a square roofing. Like, I can do that. And I just was like, hey man, send me a lead. Let's see what happens with it. And I closed 4 out of my first 5 leads. This was just a guy wholesaling on his own at the time. Wasn't with a company like yours or anything like that. And I closed 4 out of 5 wholesale like leads, which is, as you know, for this industry, like a really, really, really high close rate.
Yeah.
And, I said to myself, I'm like, I'm going all in at this. I quit my job, shook hands with everybody. And I said, I'm going into wholesaling full time. I just quit and I fucking went for it, man. I can swear, right? We can swear here.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
So yeah, man. Like, I went for it. Like, all those stories that you read and all those ancient books, like, burn your ships, go for it, take calculated risks, man. Like, I'm not the most book smart guy in the world. I'm not the most street smart guy in the world, but I am an action taker through and through. And when I see it,
man,
I go for it and I take it. So
awesome. I classify myself that I'm not the smartest guy in the world either, but I just figure stuff out. So tell everyone, are these 120 deals all wholesale?
Yeah, 100% wholesale deals. Last year we did 111 in the greater Philadelphia area.
You must have millions of dollars of bank loans, right, to do all that?
No, I still can't get a loan from a bank. They still won't lend me any money.
So you can make money in real estate without money.
Yeah.
I thought that was too good to be true.
Yeah, man. So my rent payment was late, and so was my car payment the first time I ran a wholesale lead. I had gotten sick, right, and I couldn't sell windows for a month or two. So, like, no, you don't need a fucking dime. Well, you need a little bit of money for marketing, or at least the balls to go knock on some doors or put some posts on Facebook. But if you're running around out there thinking you need $1 million in the bank, $500,000 in the bank, all you need is heart, right? So like, if you got heart to swing that hand on the door, knock on some doors and see if people know anybody that wants to sell a house, then you can do this.
So if someone's listening and they're a drug addict, or they were in prison, or they're in prison, or they're in a shitty job, or they're just not loving life for some reason, what advice would you give them to follow the same path that you did?
There's hope, and you can make it, right? So like, with heart and with the right opportunities and people that are going to give you a shot regardless of your past, right? Like, someone gave me a shot regardless of my past. Like, my first business partner in this game, like, gave me a shot regardless of what was going on, in the past. I try to give people a shot in my business now. Several of my employees and people that I work very closely with in the wholesaling business here in the greater Philadelphia area have criminal records and checkered pasts, man. So like, find a meritocracy, find a place where you get paid what you can produce and not just like what your criminal record says.
So George, congrats, man, from jail cell to millions of dollars in wholesale fees. Let's give George some major love by sending them some click that heart button about 100 times. All right, so let's get into what are your goals and then what are your obstacles? Because this is where I'm going to really break things down and hopefully give you some good knowledge.
So my goals have shifted. I got a little bit of a reality check earlier this year. So original goal for this year was to net $3 million, which at this point I'm looking to net 1 million would be great. So one of the things that I've struggled with, especially moving from being basically self-employed or near self-employed, running my own leads and doing that, to being a business owner, which has much more to do with managing people, recruiting, and also like the financial accounting sort of side of things. So like we run $60,000 to $80,000 of overhead a month right now between mailings, Facebook ads, employee costs, all the stuff that pops up.
Yep.
From random places and trying things out, and things like that. Sometimes we've had a few months this year where we didn't do that much revenue. So if I really dialed into it and was honest, which I'm going to be, the reason that is because we had two salespeople, and one of them was literally non-performing. Though he was such a good friend of mine, I was basically refusing to do anything about it. We let him go about 3 weeks ago now. So we've promoted our former appointment setter into that role, and the appointment setter has been writing up $20,000 to $30,000 in volume a week, which is good, right? Like if a rep does $100,000 in wholesale fees a month, that's great. Average last year per rep was 63,300, I think. So 100's great. I'll take that deal all day. So, for me, really, I think it's making the transition from wanting people to like me to keeping in mind the greater good of the business runs and everybody's family gets paid, not just like not wanting to have conversations with people, which, I get better at as time moves on and things like that. But basically just like managing cash flow, man, that's been my biggest struggle in the last few months. We've come out of, or not entirely come out of those issues, but we've made significant headway into that. So now I'm looking at things as to, what am I marketing? Like, what's my marketing look like by month, right? So like what I mean by that is not necessarily like, we're marketing to out of states, we're marketing to probates, we're hitting all the normal stuff. Like this month we'll send 40,000 mail pieces. We'll spend 10 grand ish on Facebook seller lead ads, pay-per-click, all that stuff. So we've got significant funnels, follow-up, set up, servicing the leads, separating them out into our CRM, doing all that stuff. But, we're really busy right now. It's June, right? June's like the top of the bell curve for real estate. So like, so earlier this year, I was doing the same amount of marketing in January, February, and December as I am now. And, my response rates were dismal compared to what they are now. So, I'm especially, frankly, you've been in this game for quite some time. So like, how do you address your marketing concerns in multiple markets that you're at, and especially the major markets that you're in where you have a larger presence? I know you maintain a small presence in, I think, several different markets. Like, how do you maintain your marketing presence in your major markets over the course of a year? Is it a consistent, let's say 10,000 letters a month? Is it follow the bell curve? Like, how do you do that?
So before I answer that, let's hit the managing cash flow issue. And I do want to get back to your goals too. So I want to hear, you wanted to make 3, but you're only going to make 1. So I want to hear next year's goals. But before, let me answer cash flow. So my partner actually has handled the cash flow for years. And the way that he does it is he has a weekly spreadsheet, not a monthly spreadsheet, but literally you have inflows and outflows. So you have, okay, I've got this contract that's anticipated to come in. That's my inflow. What are my outflows? It's all of the expenses, and most of the expenses, So cash flow is one of the most important things of the game. As you can see, you're profitable, but you could technically go out of business. And not many people, they don't teach you that much in business school, and they don't teach you that in really anywhere. That cash, the old cash is king is so true. So just be really, if you're not good at that, you've got to find someone on your team that on a daily basis, you should be looking at for a long, long time, I had my CFO every day emailing me the bank balance or all of our bank balances. Cause then I could have that was like the canary in the cave. What is our bank balance? How much do we have in there? So I'd be looking at it on a daily basis, and I'd be doing cash flow on a weekly basis, because the worst thing you can do is get caught, without cash. What if you went for two months and you just had something go wrong? Yep. So just focus on that. The marketing presence. So we right now are only spending dollars in the DC market, which is 95% of our marketing spend, or 85% of it. And then the rest is in South Florida. And then all of the other, we're generating close to 900 leads a month, is all from SEO, all from search engine optimization, because our website is so good. So there's not a whole lot of cost involved in that. So the question, we really just started the marketing in January in Miami. What we have found after 15 years in the business in the DC market is sometimes we will cut marketing from Thanksgiving to New Year's, because that's when things really slow down. Even though people are in financial distress, they just find a way to push it off until after the new year. So that's really the only time of year where we consider slowing down in our marketing. In the last couple of years, we haven't actually slowed down that much. But if you look at the statistics on motivated seller keyword terms, like who's out there searching, I need to sell my house fast, like you said, it's definitely kind of March through July is the peak, and then it falls off after that. Does it mean you can't do a ton of deals? No, we've had some incredible Decembers, but that's just in general, most of the activity in real estate's, not most of it, in motivated seller search terms, most of the people are searching in that 6-month window over the summertime.
Cool. Follow-up question on that, as far as so I've been managing things monthly for ever, right? So when you're managing things weekly, are you just taking things and dividing them by 4 or 4.3, or how does that look sort of like on the ground for you to do that?
So the income is going to come obviously based on when we think the closing is going to happen. And do all closings happen at the same time we think they are? Unfortunately, no. Most of the expenses, you can do it a couple ways. I guess you could break it up, like you're saying, into 4s, or, we were doing this really carefully when we were doing renovations, because we would know we were going to spend this much per week. But if you have a bunch of fixed monthly costs like you do, or you're mailing on a weekly basis, I would just put those in the week that they're going to actually occur. Or you could do, the week that you're actually going to pay them. Just something this is not perfect, because look, you can have 3 closings set up for the last week of this month, and they might get pushed off. So it's not perfect, but it's something that can keep your eye, just to keep your eye on things, to make sure that you don't see over the next 6 weeks that, oh my God, I've got all these expenses and I've got nothing on the books. I've got to do something.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. It sucks.
So if your goal, what is your goal? What is your goal over the next 12 months in terms of growth or income or deals?
So our cost of goods sold has dropped positively dramatically year over year. So I'm looking to this 2018 is supposed to be the year of leaning out, being profitable in sort of advance of a coming market crash, which I think, may or may not happen next year, and then switch our exit strategy from primarily wholesaling things to primarily purchasing them, keeping them, renting them out, and sort of turning a little bit of a different machine on for that. Though, who knows how well that's going to work, what percentage of our deals we'll end up doing with that. But that's sort of like the broad strokes sort of plan. But frankly, I've been very focused on the next 6 months versus like the next year. But next year.
So go ahead, give me the next 6 months. That's even better. What is your goals for the next 6 months? And then what obstacles do you see it facing you?
Next 6 months, I'd like to do in the neighborhood of $1.2 million of volume. Obstacles are, what obstacles do we have realistically? Obstacles are making sure our sales team stays A, on the team, and B, performing, and we don't screw up any of the stuff that's going on with marketing. Major obstacles that I'm seeing is something changing in the market versus, but I'm in a really blessed, grateful position that a lot of my business is extremely predictable, right? So I know that for every $100 I spend on Facebook, like leads or Facebook ads, I should get like 1.4 leads for that. And for every 8 leads we get from that, we get an appointment. And for every 4 appointments from that, we'll get a deal. And I know every deal will generate about $18,000 of revenue. So from that perspective, it's really super predictable. I've recently hired a bunch of people. So the biggest obstacle is making sure that they're performing to that minimum expectation that I expect them to do to keep everything inside of our marketing funnel predictable so that we can do that.
Are you getting, how many deals a month are you getting from Facebook?
3 or maybe
3. Are you doing that? Are you doing that in-house or is someone doing it?
I do it.
That's amazing. So if you're doing 3 to 4 deals a month on Facebook, like you are one of the market leaders across the whole country. I can tell you that.
I kind of expected that, but yeah. Maybe
I mean, and this is like management companies and everything. So tell me a little bit, because I'm reading over your application or the notes that you put in. You talk about an appointment setter. Tell me, what does your team look like? And then how do the leads flow? And tell me about the pre-recorded message and whatnot.
I think that was like the full funnel. Okay. So my I'm going to go through our team funnel and how we take a general lead through that. And then I'm going to go through how we actually generate leads in the different places that those come from. So to us, a seller lead is somebody that has a phone number, has picked up the phone and talked to somebody and owns a property. That's a seller lead. Okay. So a seller lead is then our appointment setter talks to them and they say, hey, what made you decide to reach out? They say, do you have any debt? Why are you selling? All the normal things I'm sure you guys are taking things through to qualify. If it fits our qualifications, meaning has equity to sell and has some semblance of motivation there, regardless of what their asking price is, that gets set into our sales calendar. So the sales calendar will randomly select a salesperson based upon availability. Right now we have 2 salespeople. Salesperson requalifies the deal and gets much more detailed in terms of, okay, they owe $69,000. The most we can sell this for is $72,000. This isn't worth us going to see. But they just put it in an offer range. So they say, okay.
Are they doing that with a phone call back to the seller, or are they doing that with just the information that the appointment setter's got?
Just the information that the appointment setter's got. And the only reason that the salesperson will reach, somebody else confirms the appointment. So we do take that through another level of confirmation. The transaction coordinator actually confirms everyone's leads.
Okay, can I give you a suggestion on that? So we've gone back and forth, inside sales, outside sales, and does one person take it or do they set an appointment? And we found that that the guys were closing a lot more deals when they were the one actually talking to the seller, because a lot of the sales process is actually done on the phone. So I would just ask you to tweak one thing, and that is if you want to keep an appointment setter, have the appointment setter figure out if they're motivated or not, and then just get the minimum information and do a hot transfer to the person who's actually be coming out to the house. And that person is going to be able to start building some major rapport and do most of the sales process on the phone, set the upfront contract. Hey, I'm coming out, or all the signers going to be there. If I present you an offer that's acceptable, are you ready to sign that day? And then when they go out to the house, they're obviously going to have that rapport, and it's going to be a lot easier to close them. I think your closing rate might go up.
Yeah, so we used to do that, and we switched to this system based upon the number of leads that we were getting and when they were coming in. Close rate is higher when the salespeople are calling and confirming their own leads. It is, right? I don't think that there's any which way about that. That's categorically the case. Our appointment setter is fucking amazing. Shout out to Angela if you ever actually see this. And our last one was really good too. So we're asking those questions about. She spends 15 to 20 minutes on the phone with these people typically and puts them into a calendar. So between 2 sales reps last month, we ran 68 seller appointments. These guys are working like 6 days a week. Some days they're running 2 or 3 leads a day, trying to take notes on their phone. We just found it to be easier with the number of appointments we were able to generate, and sort of at that scale to have somebody else putting it into the calendar. And then now they actually have time to follow up on their past appointments.
So the 2 outside sales associates did 68 appointments, and when they're not on appointments, they're following up on old leads that they couldn't close.
Right now, yes.
Okay, was 68 the high? Is that about what they've been doing?
It's a good month for us.
68 is a good month.
I think that they can run more this month. So far, we've ran 33 or 32. Yeah, so we're on pace to do more this month, which is good.
Okay, let me just take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll hear more about that sales process. But I just want to tell everyone something really cool I'm offering a select number of people. If you're one of the 78% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, or you're struggling trying to grow your real estate investing business, you may be interested in this opportunity. At Brad Chandler Coaching, I teach people how to find freedom in their life doing exactly what me and myself and George do, and that is to invest in real estate without needing tons of money or credit. If you're interested in learning more, you can see all of what my programs have to offer by just going to bradchandler.com/learn. On this page, you'll find a free training where I discuss how to start and grow a real estate wholesaling business. It doesn't matter what level you're at. I help all levels of real estate investors. So if you want to learn how to make tens of thousands of dollars wholesaling house without bank loans or loads of cash, or you want to learn to grow your existing business, go ahead and watch my free training at bradchandler.com/learn. If you're looking for freedom in your life, this could be the answer. Okay, back to George. So George, the sales appointments, 68 appointments, and then tell me about the other parts of your process and the pre-recorded message.
Yeah, real quick, the salespeople close leads at 18 to 22%, which is about in line. It's actually higher than what it was previously when well, actually, if I ran the numbers differently, it'd probably be about the same. They're closing about the same percentage as they were beforehand, like they're still closing pretty well. So, if you're telling me we can close them at 50% or 60% if we go back to the old way, shit, I'll change everything tomorrow. But yeah, okay. So going back to the pre-recorded voicemail. So we get leads in a variety of different ways. We do direct mail, and direct mail is chopped up into two prongs. So prong one is your regular long form or long copy letter. So somebody gets a letter, they open it, it sort of looks handwritten, but it's still, printed. And it says, hey, you interested in selling 123 Main Street without making any repairs? Well, here's your shot, right? And it goes through all the typical things. It's 3 pages. The first page is like, your pitch sort of with a call to action at the bottom. Second page is a how it works page. And the third page is a page just with a bunch of testimonials on it. We may or may not add a fourth page at some time. I'm kind of like digging around, looking at, but somebody calls that, it goes right to the appointment setter. They qualify the call right there. We're sending to people that have equity and maybe meet 1 or 2 other motivation selections or motivation criteria, as we call them. Then the other prong of direct mail is the third notice postcard, which you've probably seen them. They're a little predatory. They say third notice, yellow. Yeah. So that makes people.
Those are the only ones that are going to the pre-recorded voicemails?
Right. So that goes to pre-recorded voicemail. So we've experimented with sending the long copy people to a pre-recorded message, though the response rate wasn't terribly different. We kind of only tested it out once, and then we were like, you know what, like I kind of want a person on the other end making this call. Actually, I was curious to see if you had any data or statistics saying whether one way was better or the other way.
I don't know that I have statistics. I just hate voicemail. And years ago, I almost started a business that was going to use IVR technology, interactive voice recognition. And I just remember looking at the studies on how people hate voicemail. So would you ever call Apple, Geico, State Farm and get a voicemail?
I'd be furious.
Yeah. So I hate voicemail. So I always say go live. And I think that's, our phones are answered 24/7 live. So you'll never get a voicemail.
Yeah, exactly. So that I'm sort of the same frame of mind as that. So the third notice postcard, dumps off to a voicemail, gets a gigantic response rate, and then we have outbound follow-up people that call those people that called it and did leave a message saying either F you or, hey, yeah, I would love to sell my house. And they, put leads into the appointment calendar and all that stuff and just run that funnel through.
Right. Okay. So can you tell us, give us some insight on how you're doing 3 to 4 deals a month on Facebook?
Sure.
What's the magic potion?
Magic potion's hard work and trial and error. So I spent $30,000 or $40,000 learning how to do it, and since then I've also spent easily another $30,000 to $50,000 doing it. Right. Did not happen overnight. I'm not an internet guru. I barely know how to type in my password on my phone. So the secret is using exactly what your letter says and basically understanding that you're just putting a letter in front of someone's face, trying to get them to open it and then trying to get them to read it and then trying to fill out a form. Right. So if you have a great grandstand banger letter that you've always sent, it always gets you like a 0.5% response rate, let's say, or always gets people closest to the basket, let's say, copy exactly what that text says, put it in the text of your ad, do a single picture ad, try to do a community page that doesn't exactly look like it's Brad Buys Homes right off the bat, because people will see that and be like, fuck that, I don't want to buy their home, stop sending me mail. So our page that we run ads from is Problem Property Pals. So at first glance, that does not look like a home buyer. It looks like somebody that wants to help out if you've got a problem house. So as they read our ad, they figure out we want to buy our house, but it sort of gets us in the door. And so your headline should be something to the effect of whatever your headline on your letter is. So like the easiest, simplest, fastest one is want to sell your house, comma, but don't want to make any repairs, question mark. And then the text will just say exactly what your letter says. Hi, I'm Brad. I buy houses as is. I buy houses for cash. So, if you're facing foreclosure, you're facing a tax sale and you just want to get out from under this house that's caused you all this grief, and you want it to be quick, easy, no BS, and just have someone give you a fair cash, no obligational offer for free right now, fill out the form below. All we need is your name, phone number, and why you're selling. So we use Facebook lead forms. They dump out with Zapier right into Podio, which is super easy. The longer you make your form, the more quality of lead you'll get, but Facebook leads are categorically shitty, right? So like, You need more of the, in our experience, you need more of them to get a deal than you would with direct mail, but nobody else is doing Facebook advertising. So you're like the only person in the house. And we've made some really great deals with people from Facebook advertisements fast, right? So we are in the golden age, as I like to say, of Facebook ads now. So like 2003, 2005, maybe the golden age of Google advertising. You could get a great grand spanking lead for like $2 on Google back then. Well, right now that's happening on Facebook. It's not $2 for me. It's consistently between $40 and $70 for a Facebook lead. But if you back out the math on that for what it costs me for a transaction, like an actual deal from direct mail versus an actual deal from Facebook, a Facebook deal costs me generally half as much as it does than a direct mail deal. But you need to be able to follow up with all those leads consistently, accurately, and, just in general, right, in order to make that happen, because you need 8 of them to get an appointment. At least in our experience, you do. Because you can't like, okay, so if you're buying a list from ListSource or you're pulling a list out of your local MLS, you can kind of push away people that definitely have too much debt. Sometimes in your MLS, you can even select for properties that need work, right? Like, talk about a home run, right? Yeah. I recently found out a county near Philadelphia lets me just click on properties that need work. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you even need to pay for this? I'm like, what? So you can't do that on Facebook. So we'll get leads that have too much debt, that they're not really motivated. That does happen. But if you're able to deal with those phone calls, there are gems in there. Plus, you can play with the audiences so much. You can target people that smoke. You can target people that have lived in their house for more than a few years. You can use your own mailing list, upload it to Facebook, and just market to those people. Though Facebook, in my experience, only finds those people accurately 30 or 40% of the time. But there's a massive amount of stuff with interest targeting you can do, behavioral targeting you can do, income level targeting that you can do. It's really, really, really fascinating, and it's kind of fun to play with.
So one, you're probably gonna have a lot of people calling you now saying, hey, come do my ads. But anyway, have you done videos? Are you doing much with videos, or are you just doing the what you just said, the picture and the text?
Yeah, I've run videos. We haven't gone terribly far down the rabbit hole video. I made a video of myself saying, hey, what's up, George Beatty, I buy houses. This is what it means to sell as is. We got 2 leads at $100 a piece for those. So we turned that off and started just running the normal stuff. So with a more professional video kit, yeah, I'm quite positive you can generate leads from that. But like remember, when you're on Facebook scrolling through, if they're showing you videos, it's either going to be in the news feed, in which case they're very easy to see and scroll right past, unless you've got something jumping out at you right away and your targeting is really good, or it's going to be when people are sitting through scrolling through videos like in the middle of the night watching like meme videos or whatever, right? So like, same with direct mail. Understand that they're going to be sitting at the kitchen table with a letter. Your trash can's going to be to the left, the letter is going to be in their right hand, and you got less than a split second to get them
right.
So it's the same deal on Facebook. So, if you trial and error. We haven't done a ton of trial and error with videos. I'm sure it will work. $100 leads is really, really, really good for some people in some markets. So like if you're running, I think you're in Seattle or Portland or something like that. Well, even DC. I got friends doing $300,000 assignment fees in DC. You know what I mean? So it's like nuts.
Yeah. So problem pals, I would love for you to, because you have a carrot site, which is, amazing. And if you guys are looking for an awesome carrot site, just go to bradchandler.com/carrot. I wonder though, like problem is a negative word. I wonder if you couldn't take, if you've got the package with carrot where you've got 3 sites, I wonder if you couldn't try another site where it didn't have a negative keyword in there. And I wonder if you wouldn't get better results. I could be wrong and maybe people will be attracted to that, but that was one thing I was going to mention. And then on your website, our company page or about us is one of the most visited web pages on our site. Yours doesn't have anything really about you, your story, your picture, video, anything. So I would really spend some time doing that. Yep. And the only other, there's just not much critiques I can do to carrot sites because they're so good. But you've got a stock photo on your front page that's on like 1,000 other web pages. Put another picture of whoever, your girlfriend, your mom, probably someone your mom's age would be better. Just Google doesn't like stock images, so put a different image on there, and then put some more images on your site in general.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. Thank you. Quick story about that. I hired someone to do a new website for me a few months ago, and that relationship kind of went bad, and I haven't even revisited it now. So thanks for keeping me accountable.
I wouldn't do it, by the way. I would not go try to build another website when you've got Carrot, because they can build the most pretty thing in the world, but if it's not set up for conversion rate, which Carrot sites are, it could be a complete bust.
I don't remember if I read this on one of your blogs or somewhere else, but I know you're really big on credibility packages, which is another thing that's been on my to-do list for our salespeople for a while. But I've been paying my transaction coordinator $100 to get me testimonials.
Great idea.
You know, getting some decent testimonials on there. But I posted some of those on there. But yeah, I got to admit I dropped the ball on the website up until this point for sure, Brad.
Well, every day that goes by, internet's going to be more and more important. It is our number one source of deals, the internet. So just make sure that's your focus. We got to wrap up in a couple minutes, George. I hope this was helpful. What else? Do you have any burning questions or anything that I can help you out with your business?
If you could give me one piece of advice, or give yourself from 10 years ago one piece of advice that you think would be the most effective thing, regardless of what it is, what do you think?
Oh, it's so crystal clear, and it's focus. It's focus and not getting distracted from what your goals are. So when I was asking what your goals are, you got to get really crystal clear on what are your year goal, your 3-year goal, and your 5-year goals. And then don't get the shiny object syndrome where you're saying, okay, I can do this here, so I'm probably going to be able to do it in South Florida and Seattle. And, I'm going to start buying apartment buildings, and then I'm going to start buying commercial, because it will kill you. Every great person had a tunnel, Think and Grow Rich. They had a tunnel vision. So set your goals, stick to them. You're obviously doing amazingly well. Just don't get distracted. And when you come in every day, don't get on social media, don't get on Facebook, don't get on your email. Come in every day and ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary, and then focus on that one thing.
Hell yeah.
And just take that advice, and in 5 years, you'll look back and you'll be like, oh my God, like read the One Thing book by Gary Keller. I mean, it's phenomenal about being focused.
Cool. Thank you. That's a great piece of advice, Brad. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Awesome show. Guys, so I told you I'd give you this free training. If you want to see this new report I have on how I made $33,750 on a townhome that I never bought and never renovated, just go to bradchandler.com/results. And thank you so much for sticking around to the end. Remember, it is possible for you to leave your job, your shitty job, and get the freedom you deserve in life through real estate investing without needing money to buy or renovate the house. Myself, my students, George, and countless wholesalers around the U.S. are living proof. George, thanks so much for being on my show as a guest. Could everyone say thanks to George by clicking that heart button and sharing this episode? Thanks, George. This concludes our show for the day. And again, put your questions down below. Tell me where you're from, because I will come back and answer them. George, we'll have you back in a year from now when you've done 3 million, and you'll tell us how you're doing 10 deals a month or 20 deals a month on Facebook in different markets.
Great, we'll do.
Take care, my friend.